Hi, I'm Wayne Ferry, professional stone carver. My buddy Mike has got a project here where he's trying to show, and he's right, that stone can be carved with primitive tools. And, you see a lot of the ancient aliens and all that, and everybody is on this kick. Well, there's, that mankind couldn't have done what they did. Well, in the current society, yeah, I mean, where everything is easy, and the motivations aren't there. But back then, nothing was easy either. But there was some motivation there, and I'm sure that these people who worked on the monuments were paid or at least fed. I don't think that they were whipped. I don't think you can get anything out of people that are whipped. But they did use. I think they did use primitive tools or whatever tools they had available. It could have been harder stone to cut softer stone, like granite cutting limestone. Could have been copper tools. They had copper. You can use copper. Absolutely. You might have to sharpen it more, but yeah, it can be done. Anyway, Mike has asked me to carve a face in this Egyptian sphinx sort of stone. It's kind of out of proportion. See, we could put a lot of times the headdress would be about here. Sometimes they had a snake here, and then the headdress always like wrapped around over the crown of the forehead, and then actually the nose would be more down in here, and more something like this. So Mike has asked me to sort of get him started on a face here for the Sphinx, so that's what I'm going to try and do. Now, the first thing you have to realize is what's going to be the foremost point on this sculpture. And if you look at the profile of a human being, it's always the nose. So we'll start with the nose and we'll bring that back into the brow area, and then we'll carve even more of a slant to get to the bottom of the headdress here. We're not going to carve a snake in here, but we are going to round it down, and we're going to have to try and, well, these ears will be cut off here and then lower down into here where they're supposed to be. And so we're going to do what we can. Okay, so what we've done here is we've used a sort of a broad, flat chisel, and we're trying to create some depth and some pronunciation of the planes, the different planes that make up the formation of the face or the skull, basically. So we got kind of a square jaw, which is typically kind of an Egyptian sphinx type feature, and some prominent cheekbones, and of course we've decided that we're going to eliminate any sort of a snake ornamentation on the headdress. So basically what we're trying to remove as much stone as we can before we get into the details of the carving. Okay, now we're going to have to go to some finer tools. It's always about time and materials. Time, materials, and cost. We're kind of playing it by ear because I don't really have a reliable photograph to go by, but trying to rough in the neck here and then allude to maybe the shoulders being in here. Now the headdress, a lot of times the Egyptians would kind of angle right in here. It would go down that way and it would go down that way. So I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen in there. I know there was a certain way where the lines went, they come down and then they come over, something like that. But in here, on the beard, it's sort of a kind of a funny braid type shape. I can't remember exactly how that goes. Now these files that I'm using are, I bought them from Sculpture House in New York many years ago. They're Italian, and the Italians usually make things that hold up pretty good. Okay, I'm going to blow this off. There's some more detail work to be done on this. I want to you have to get in the eyes with some smaller tools and clean those up, but I want to get this braided beard in here. Okay, now when you get close to the end of your carving, and this, we could just keep going and going on this thing and really, really turn it into an artwork. I'm not sure if we're going to do that today, but it's important to create some darkness at the edges, at the corners of the eyes, getting into the nose area. Find the right tool right here. You need some specialty tools for getting into certain areas, like the nose here. It's important to really create some darkness in the nose. You're just scraping it out. Limestone's really soft. You know, if some ancient alien theorist tells you that you can't carve a piece of limestone with a piece of metal, no matter what it is, or a sharp piece of granite, I mean, just laugh it off. Seriously. So a tool like this for digging in the nostril area, it really enhances the carving, and it kind of gives life to the carving. If you can get in there and create some darkness at the corners of the lips and the corners of the eyes and the nostrils. As the master carver used to tell me, it breathes life into the sculpture. And that was Vincent Palumbo, the master carver at the National Cathedral. And with the lips, it's always important to remember that the bottom lip is always under the top lip. See, it's okay if you even like break off a little bit of that eyelid. It makes it look like eyelashes. And that's the beauty of limestone. There's two ways you're going to work limestone. You're either going to cut it or you're going to break it. When you break it, you get the darker color of the limestone coming out. When you smooth it, you get more of the white.